Hello and welcome to an update on the free motion plugin that I previously made. If you don't know about this plugin, there's a video that I did to explain what it does, so you can check that out. So this is just a quick update to show about 3 features that I added to it. So to get the plugin, download it, add it to your plugins folder and go to master plugins. Go to add plugins here and load it from there, and then go to master plugins and you find it right here, IKB motion loader. So this one is particularly version 1.1. okay, now I'm naming versions just to keep track of the updates. So this one, if you look down here, there's what is called the motion loop counter. So this one loops a motion. So to give an example, if I go to the walk cycle, normally if I click on the walk cycle, this walk cycle is like 12 frames long. But if I wanted to loop all the way several times, so let's say 5 times, I can just type number 5 there and click the motion again, and this time it's going to loop 5 times. So very handy to speed up your work. Just remember to take it down to 1 when you are not when you don't want to loop things. Alright, so this motion speed percent, as I mentioned last time, it shows the percentage of the speed. Let me clear the previous motion. The speed of the motion. So the thing is, you can add a negative number here. I actually didn't know this. It could work until my brother mentioned it. So if you add a negative value like that, you can move your cursor forward. If I know, for example, that this motion is 12 frames long, let me just put it at frame 30 just so you can see the difference. If this is a minus 100, so and I click on the walk cycle, it's going to load backward like this. So meaning I've created a reverse motion of this one. So he's walking backward instead of forward this time, like that. You can even loop the same thing. So let me clear this motion and add 2 as a loop and then load. So now it's loaded twice in reverse, and so there we go. Okay, so those are the features you can use. And the third feature is the partial load. Now this one loads a section of the motion. For example, this is, as you can see, this is the normal skeleton tree. When loading my motions, I select the actual object, which loads motions to the entire hierarchy, because the object is the parent, is the ultimate parent here. But if, for example, there's a pose that I like, I only like the hand. For example, let me get a pose here. Let's go here. There's this pose. So as you can see, this pose, hopefully you can see it very well. The pose is like that. But let's imagine I just want this arm like this. This is the only part of the motion I want. It could be a pose or a motion, it doesn't really matter. If I go back to the main folder and take him back to the default pose like that, but I want just that part of the arm, what I do is, let me select the bone that I want. That's the bone. I want the loading to start from that bone and down the hierarchy to the arm like that. So what I do is I have to select the object that I normally would have selected to load the entire motion. So let me do that. Let me click on objects. So now the object is selected, and the plugin will keep track of what you previously selected. So if I go back to bone mode, it's going to select this bone that I had selected now. So meaning the previous selected item was the object itself, and now I've selected this bone. So the plugin is going to assume the object that was previously selected is what you normally would have selected to load the motion. So now that you've selected only this partial thing and select partial load here, it's going to ignore every other bone and only load whatever motion you put here. It only load what is on this arm or this hand. So if I now go from the default pose and then I go to this section here, if you remember the pose I had loaded previously, if I click on it now, as you can see, only the arm has moved because I'm only interested in what this arm is doing because of the bone that I selected. So I can go through all of these and it will simply get the motion of the arm. So this helps to load a partial, just one part of a pose that you like. And this can be very useful. So let me show you one use of this thing right here. So let me clear last motion like that and go back to 0. So let's say he's walking and talking to somebody. So let me select the object and remove partial load because I want to load the full walk cycle here. So let me delete that key. So let me click on walk cycle and do 5 loops of this walk cycle. So like that. So now he's walking, that's the walk cycle. But I want him to gesture like he's talking while he's walking. So if I go to bone edit mode here and select this part, this bone right here, I want every child of this bone to have different motions that I want. So what I do is I right click on this same bone, right click, and it's going to select all the children of this same bone. Then I can go down here to the drop track, click and drag in order to delete the keyframes. All these keyframes I don't want, so delete the keyframes like that. Okay. All right, so now what's happening is he is walking. He's walking and the upper body is completely still because we've deleted all the keyframes there. Now I want to select the bone that I want the partial load to start from. So that's that bone right there. So now, as usual, you have to select first the item that you normally would select when loading that motion, which is the object in this case. So I go to object mode and it selects that. And if I go back to bone mode, then it selected that bone which I previously selected. So, and that's what I want. So it remembers, the plugin remembers that I had selected the body. Now I've selected the bone, so it's going to start loading only from that bone and ignore the legs. So now as he is walking like this, I can keep adding gestures here. So for example, if I go to frame 5, I go to these motions that normally would be used when he is standing still. So I can just click one like this one. Oh, sorry, I have to select partial load. Okay, don't forget that. Let me click that again, and there it works. So let me go here. So as you can see, he is walking and then he gestures like that. So let me hold that one, and then I can change the gesture to that one now. Okay, so as he's walking, he does that, and let's maintain that pose and go to another frame, and here I can select something else like this one, like that. So this is very nice for quickly animating people walking and talking and gesturing and so on. It can be a very huge time saver because here I'm just going around clicking away like that. Okay, so there we go. It's walking. Okay, so this could be very good for animating things like dialogue or him doing something using other motions in connection with other motions, to combine motions together to create new ones. So I could at the end of the day save this as one motion. If I go to save motion here, just specify the frame start and frame end and give it a name, and we're done. I can reuse this motion later on. Alright, so I hope those updates will be useful to you. If you haven't already gotten this plugin, please download it and try it out for yourself and see if it improves your workflow. Alright, so I will see you in another tutorial.